55. Thomas Green looked like a man who had done everything right, a steady career that paid the bills, a house that was finally his, a family that never walked away from the outside. It was the kind of life people respected, the kind of life he used to aim for. But every morning, before the day began, before the noise, the routine, the responsibilities, there was a quiet moment he couldn't escape, a single thought that kept returning. This isn't the life I was meant to live. It wasn't loud, it didn't demand attention, but it stayed, in the silence of his coffee, in the drive to work, in the space between conversations, and over time, that quiet thought turned into something heavier, not just regret, not just frustration, but blame, because deep down, Thomas believed he knew exactly who had taken that life from him, and that belief was slowly changing the way he saw everything, and everyone, around him. Back in his 20s, Thomas had a dream: music, not just a hobby, but a calling, late nights writing songs, playing small gigs, believing that one day, it would become something more. Then life happened. He met Sarah, they fell in love, and soon, they were expecting their first child. Responsibility came fast, and dreams, they started to feel irresponsible. I'll come back to it later, Thomas told himself, so he took a steady job, long hours, reliable income, predictable future. His guitar slowly gathered dust in the corner. Days turned into years, and later never came. At first, it felt like the right decision. There was comfort in stability, pride in providing, a sense of purpose in being needed. Thomas told himself this was what growing up looked like: sacrifice, trade one life for another, and don't look back. And for a while, he didn't. But every now and then, something would break through: a song on the radio, a live band playing at a bar, a melody he used to know by heart, and just for a second, he would remember who he used to be. Then the moment would pass, he'd turn back to work, back to routine, back to the life he chose, convincing himself, again and again, that this was enough. At first, Thomas didn't mind. Providing felt good, being needed felt meaningful, but something inside him never fully settled. Every now and then, he'd hear a song on the radio, and feel a quiet ache he couldn't explain. Still, he pushed it down, because that's what responsible men do, right? But over time, that ache turned into something else: frustration, then resentment, and eventually, blame. It didn't happen all at once. It showed up in small moments: a sigh after a long day, a short answer when Sarah asked how work was, a distant look when his kids talked about their own dreams. Things that once felt meaningful began to feel like obligations. The house he worked so hard for started to feel like a reminder. The job that gave him security felt like a cage, and without realizing it, Thomas began rewriting his own story, in his mind. He wasn't the one who chose this life, it had been chosen for him, by timing, by responsibility, by family. So when the frustration grew too heavy to ignore, he didn't look inward, he looked across the table, at the people he loved most, and slowly, quietly, he began to see them as the reason he had lost himself. It showed up in small ways first: short answers, long silences, irritation over nothing, until one night, it finally came out. Dinner table. Ordinary evening. Sarah asked, "You okay? You've been distant." Thomas snapped, "I gave up everything for this family." The room went still. His teenage daughter looked down at her plate. His son stopped eating. Sarah blinked, confused. "What are you talking about?" "My music. My life. My chances." Thomas said, "I had dreams too. You know." Silence. Then Sarah spoke, quiet, but firm. "I didn't ask you to give that up." That landed harder than anything else, because deep down, he knew it was true. No one argued after that. Dinner ended early, chairs pushed back, plates left half full. The house didn't explode into conflict, it collapsed into distance. His daughter avoided eye contact the rest of the night. His son disappeared into his room without a word, and Sarah, she didn't fight back, she didn't defend herself, she just looked at him differently, not angry, not even hurt, just disappointed. That look followed him long after the lights went out, because for the first time, Thomas wasn't just frustrated with his life, he was forced to face something far more uncomfortable. He had blamed the people he loved most for a choice that had always been his. After that night, something changed, not loudly, but deeply. The house felt different, careful, guarded. His kids spoke less around him. Sarah stopped asking how he felt, not because she didn't care, because she didn't recognize the man in front of her anymore. And Thomas, he felt more alone than ever, not because his family left, but because he had pushed them away, with a burden they never chose to carry. The silence in the house became heavier than any argument. No slammed doors, no raised voices, just distance, the kind that builds slowly and settles in. Thomas started staying later at work, not because he had to, because it was easier than going home, easier than facing the quiet tension at the dinner table, easier than seeing the way his words had changed everything. But even at work, the feeling followed him. Because the problem wasn't the house, or the job, or even his family, it was something he had been avoiding for years. One evening, he came home earlier than usual. The house was empty. Sarah had taken the kids out. For a moment, everything was still, no noise, no expectations, just him, and in that silence, there was no one left to blame. One evening, Thomas found his old guitar in the closet, covered in dust, untouched for years. He sat down and just looked at it, not with anger, not with regret, but with clarity. No one had taken this from him, no one had forced his hand. He had made a choice, a loving one, but still his, and somewhere along the way, he turned that choice into a weapon, against the very people he made it for. He ran his fingers gently across the strings, out of tune. Of course it was. For a moment, he hesitated, as if he needed permission from a life that no longer existed. Then, slowly, he played. The first notes were rough, uneven, forgotten, but they were real, and something inside him shifted. Not a dramatic change, just a crack, a release. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about responsibility, or expectations, or regret, just sound, just presence, just him. Halfway through a simple melody, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned. Sarah stood in the doorway, quiet, watching, not judging, not interrupting, just there. And in that moment, Thomas realized something he hadn't considered before. Maybe it wasn't too late to be someone new, without losing the life he already had. That night, he did something he hadn't done in decades. He played, slow at first, rusty, imperfect, but real. Sarah stood in the doorway, listening, not interrupting, just there. When he finished, the room was quiet. "I forgot how much I needed that," Thomas said softly. Sarah nodded. "Then maybe. Don't forget again. No blame. No guilt, just truth." The moment passed quietly, but it didn't disappear. The next day, Thomas picked up the guitar again, just for a few minutes. Then again the day after that. No big announcements, no promises, just small, consistent steps. His kids began to notice. At first, they kept their distance, unsure which version of him they would get, but this time, he was different, quieter, softer, more present. One evening, his daughter paused by the living room. "Was that you playing?" she asked. Thomas nodded. A little unsure, she smiled, just slightly. It sounded nice. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it wasn't distance either. And for the first time in a long time, Thomas wasn't trying to take something back. He was simply showing up differently. Things didn't magically fix overnight, but they shifted. Thomas started playing again, a few minutes a day, then longer. His kids began to notice. One evening, his son asked, "Can you teach me that?" And just like that, something opened, not the dream he once imagined, but something better, shared, real, alive, and this time, no one had to lose for him to have it. The lessons became their quiet routine, after dinner, on weekends, in between the small moments of everyday life. Thomas found himself laughing more, listening more, not just to music, but to his family. His daughter started sitting nearby, pretending not to watch, but always staying until the end of a song. And Sarah? She didn't say much, but sometimes she'd lean against the doorway again. The same way she had that first night, only now there was something different in her eyes, not distance, not disappointment, but recognition, like she was seeing the man she had fallen in love with, slowly finding his way back. And Thomas finally understood. This wasn't about getting his old life back, it was about building a new one, where he didn't have to choose between love and himself. Thomas never became famous, he never stood on big stages, but he stopped blaming the life he chose, because he finally understood something. Sacrifice doesn't mean losing yourself, unless you choose to, and the people you love were never meant to carry the weight of a dream you didn't pursue. From that point on, things became simpler, not easier, but clearer. Thomas still went to work, still paid bills, still showed up for his responsibilities, but now, he also showed up for himself, not in some dramatic, life-changing way, but in small, consistent moments that added up. A song after dinner, a quiet hour on the weekend, a shared melody with his son. And when frustration crept in again, and sometimes it did, he didn't look across the table anymore. He looked inward, adjusted, took responsibility, started again, because this time, he knew the truth. The life he built wasn't the wrong one, he had just been living it the wrong way, and sometimes, that's all it takes. Not a new life, just a new way of being in the one you already have. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to Life Lessons Story, because sometimes, the hardest truths are the ones that can change everything.